So the evidence was important, even in these cases. And my own conclusion is, I should mention, and the conclusion that I used in writing the book was evolution, which I define again as molecules to man, never happened, could never have happened, and this is based on science, not on religion. This is a very common misconception. People assume that people are creationists because of religion. And in my case, I found many, and most in the book actually, held on or became creationists because of science, not because of religion. And example is, we can see this progression here, which, by the way, I just recently wrote an article about, but this is commonly presented. And when you study this, you find that these are either faked, or they are distorted, or the evidence is very unpersuasive for what they call a monkey or primate to man. Of course, actually, they stress that man has a common ancestor with apes. Man did not descend from apes. But that's a minor point. And another concern, and this comes out in the book, is that dogmatic evolution, I find, is interfering with science.
That's fascinating. It's going to keep us from the advancements we need to make.
Right, because you are looking at the world with very distorted glasses. You're not looking at what's there, but you're looking at what you want to see there.
So we're not dealing with reality.
Right, right. And there are many examples of blinders. And I stress you must look at the evidence only, and this is why, of course, we use the title that we did for the book. And you must not force the facts into an evolutionary interpretation. And this all too often is done. And I could give several examples, but probably one of the most familiar to me is pseudogenes and junk DNA. It was said for a long time, in fact, I remember discussions that I got into with colleagues. They said, Bergman, this DNA is junk, like 95% of the DNA is junk. It has no function. And I say, we can't say that. All we can say now is we don't know that it has a function. And they said, no, look, you cut it out. Introns are removed from the gene, and they're not used, they're not transcribed, they're not translated. Therefore, they are junk DNA. They have no function. And over, I argue with colleagues about this. Now it's widely recognized that much, if not most, possibly almost all of this so-called junk DNA now we know has a function. Much of it has a regulatory function.
That's amazing to me. I think today DNA is held in such regard that to think that it wasn't that many years ago it was regarded as junk is kind of scary.
Yeah, yeah. And I've seen what creationists were arguing for many years has been to some degree, if not to a large degree, vindicated. And this has, many scientists, by the way, will admit that this has interfered with doing science. We should have recognized at the beginning that, well, we don't know what it does, but let's try to find out what it does and go from there.